Hi guys, and welcome to part 5 of the Ultimate Guide to Dark Souls 2. So today we are doing the Lost Bastille, and this is
part 2 of the Lost Bastille.
Yeah, if you want to watch part 1 of the Lost Bastille where we get up some preliminary items, then watch the end of the Forest of the Fallen Giants video.
But do not worry, I'll probably annotate it. So if you're on mobile and you can't see annotations, you need to go back to Forest of the Fallen Giants, but otherwise you can click the link on screen that was probably going to show up a few seconds ago.
Yeah, so anyway, getting on with this, the first thing you want to do is obviously come into the lift. There's no items down at the bottom of the thing.
We're not going to go straight into the Bastille because there's an item that we need the lift for. Yeah. So this is actually quite an easy item to get. Basically what you do is you just walk back over the button. As soon as the button comes up, you walk back over it, go through the door, and you just wait for the lift ceiling to like sort of get below you. Don't drop back into the lift, you need to get on top of it. And then you can just stay on the lift until it goes back down to the bottom, and you'll see that there's items up top, and it's repair powder and...
It's actually a... Oh yeah, it's a... and a simmer.
Yeah, repair powder and the scimitar. But yeah, here it's here. So you don't even have to walk off of the lift before it stops. The lift will stop at the perfect level for you just to walk straight off of it anyway, so don't worry about trying to time it.
So obviously repair powder is quite a handy commodity, so to get I think that's 4 of them?
That's maybe. We did use one in the No Man's
Sky. Oh no,
it's
just one, but still, like, you know, having repair powder is a useful thing to get.
It's very, very scarce up until Dragonlight Castle as well, and the only way to repair weapons in this game is to allow them to break and then get the blacksmith to fix them. So it's handy to have some sort of on-the-go sort of stuff. So
well, your weapons repair when you rest at a bonfire, but the point is that if you're doing a bonfireless run, you need the repair powder.
Yeah, then repair powder's like ideal. So you just picked up Silver Proud Knight. This is common fruit. It raises your resistances to a few things, and of course the first bonfire is up here, last door on the left. And now,
so the way we handle this is we want to go back to Majula first, because we want to, I think, upgrade our weapon and do a few things before we carry on with the rest of...
Yeah, we did grab that large shard in No Man's Wharf that we still haven't used yet. So, like the one that was behind the hidden wall in the same building as Lucatil. So we did grab that, so we've not actually had a chance to put that to use. So that's something that we may end up using right now.
And we've obviously
got a shit ton of soul packets.
Yeah, so this is all the stuff that was left over from doing No Man's Wharf in the last video.
Now, as ever with the Ultimate Guide, we're not popping any of the boss souls, just the regular soul packets, because we understand some of you guys might want to make some weapons out of them, anything like that, so you're going to adapt your build to suit. And of course, it's unfair if we're higher level than you because we used more resources, so we're going to voluntarily use less.
And obviously it doesn't even matter because we still maintain like 15 levels higher than the recommended on the guide anyway.
Yeah, for like every area going forwards. Now at this point we're going to buy the Faris Lockstone because you need this in order to skip the Ruined Sentinels, which we will show you in this video. And of course all we're going to do is boost our life gems up a little bit because it's handy to have enough of them.
Right, so now what you want to do is you want to make sure before you go into the Lost Bastille, where we will be getting a lot of souls and things, you want to get the Covet Silver Serpent Ring +2. Now to get that spend +1. To get that you spend 10,000 souls with Melentia.
Which is very easy to get. It's Leningrass Key for 1,000, 4,000 for the Faris Stone, and then you just spend the other 6,000 on life gems, and then you just talk to her and she gives you the ring, and that of course gives you much more soul gain, which is very handy.
Yeah, and this pretty much is the reason why we maintain a consistently high level throughout the entire playthrough.
Covetous Ring's a staple on the build.
It's completely worth it. I mean, it means that because you're so high leveled, you've got more defense, more attack, more everything really. So
yeah, the build just becomes like super optimized, and of course because this game scales off of soul memory and not soul level, it doesn't matter that much if you do want to summon people. I'm fairly sure that even if you do want to summon people, you're always within range of someone no matter what soul memory you're at. It's strange. You're always going to be able to summon someone if you do need help with the area, but hopefully with this build you won't actually need that much help, considering it is 15 levels higher than the recommended for every single area in the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Apart from the start of Forest of the Fallen Giants, where it's completely out of your hands at that point, unless you drop your Smooth and Silky Stone and get like a Soul of a Proud Knight from the crows.
Now that Faris Stone, like we said, is incredibly key to doing this, so you definitely want to pick up. You definitely want to have at least a Faris Stone on you for when you come in here. Yeah,
I mean it's either if you want to skip the Gargoyles, then you want the Faris Stone. If you don't want to skip the Gargoyles, you still want the Faris Stone so you can get the Covetous Ring from Melentia. And of course another Haid Knight. Now this guy drops the spear, of course.
Yeah. Now remember that if you're in New Game Plus, the Haid Knights will have a chance of dropping some of their armour.
Yeah, it's very rare though. Some people have had to bonfire aesthetic like upwards of 30 times or something like that. And it's like they've still not even got the drop. It's a difficult armor set to get, but it is very good.
So remember and pick up that soul packet and human effigy because, you know,
Always
both
handy.
things are good to have.
Yep. And these dogs, you just got to back up. You just got to keep backing off until they do their lunge, and then you're free to get an easy swing. And these guys here, the jailers, now what these guys drop is they've got a chance to drop the Great Machete, just the weapon you see them using there. They've got a chance to drop Lingering Flame.
And Twilight Herb.
And Twilight Herbs, yeah. Now, of course, take out the dogs and like that, and then break this structure for the item up top.
Now, the dogs can also drop human effigies sometimes, as well as some small soul packets.
Yeah, like the soul packet varies, I'm sure, because I've had Soul of a Lost Undead, and then I've had like large Soul of a Lost Undead as well sometimes.
Maybe.
So there definitely seems to be an element of randomness in here.
So this chest here is probably one of the most important chests you could pick up. An Estus Flash Shard and large Titanite, which is insane.
That's 6
incredible.
Estus, and we've not even beat the Ruined Sentinels yet, and we've got 6 Estus.
Yeah, I mean, that's half as many as you can get, and we're not even like a quarter through the game at this stage. So
yeah, exactly. So you cannot complain about that.
Yeah.
Now, of course, just pull this gate, and you're probably able to figure it out already. This is us right next to Macduff's bonfire. Now, if you watch part 1 of the Lost Bastille at the end of the Forest of Fallen Giants video,
you weren't able to get through here.
Yeah, you weren't able to get through here. We've already opened all of this up, and we've grabbed all the items that you can get to from the Far Tower bonfire all the way up to Macduff. We've done all of that.
Yeah.
So at this point, it is just back to Majula, spend all the soul packets, and of course upgrade that Estus before the Sentinel fight. Because 6 Estus is infinitely better than 5.
Yeah, we want to be as prepared for the Ruined Sentinels as possible. Now, even we still find the Ruined Sentinels to be a bit of a challenge. When we first started, the Ruined Sentinels were by far, if you look at our blind run, we had such an issue with the Ruined Sentinels.
We did go to Ruined Sentinels right after Pursuer, however, but once we actually went around No Man's Wharf and all that, the Ruined Sentinels were a fucking cakewalk at the end of that, so we can't really complain.
So, I mean, we're going to show you that the Ruined Sentinels, although seem very difficult and intimidating to begin with, there is very solid strategies that you can employ to make it much, much easier.
Yeah, so at this point it is just leveling up. We've got to get our Vigour up to 25, and then of course chase Vigour with your Endurance, as ever. Once your Vigour goes up in like an increment of 5, you want to bring your Endurance up as well, and then get that Estus Shard, get that Estus Flash Strengthened, so you get 6, which is the most you can get by this point in the game.
Yeah.
So it's worth every single moment.
Remember,
basically.
If you can upgrade your weapon, make sure to upgrade it whenever you can. Make sure it's it's kept up to date. I'm not sure. I think we're purposefully not leveling up the longsword at this point. We have a longsword +6 at this point.
Oh, we've got +6? Yeah, so I mean the large shards we're getting at this point are purely for the weapon we're going to move on to. We're not going to use any, like if you've got chunks or anything like that, like from random drops from somewhere, if you've like sort of strayed from the normal path, do not use them, because you'll see why we ask you not to use them, because the game gives you just enough shards to get 2 +6 weapons, and it gives you enough chunks naturally that you can get a +10 fairly early on in the game as well.
Yeah.
But if you start splitting like your chunks down 2 weapons, then you're not going to be able to get a single +10.
Yeah.
So it's wise just to invest them.
So remember that these undead jailers will die in a single 2-handed light combo. Every second hit will stun the jailer, at least with the fire longsword anyway. Obviously that's the only thing we've got for reference currently. And
just remember as well that it's generally better to attack them from the side and the front than it is from the back, because of that weird cape thing they have.
Yeah, they've got a weird
sometimes
hitbox.
Your hits don't register on them, because like the cape has mass, but the hitbox isn't in that mass for the jailers, so you just swing through nothing.
Yeah, it's kind of strange. If anybody has even tried it, you'll realise that sometimes your hits just won't connect.
But these guys are fairly easy to dodge anyway, and of course try not to do that.
Yeah, try and avoid the barrels.
But yeah, so you don't want to attack them directly from behind, but you can stand just off to the side, and that's fine. And now straight ahead, if you haven't watched the first one, straight ahead there is a ladder on the side of that. It takes you up to a large Titanite shard if you haven't done the first part of the Bastille.
Now,
that's really one of the main things to grab.
Right, so now we are coming up to a new enemy that we said we were going to mention now, what they drop and stuff. So these are the Royal Swordsmen. Now these people can drop their entire armour set, as well as they can drop their weapon. The
Royal Swordsman Greatsword. They can drop the crossbow, and they can drop life gems, and common fruit. Now the life gems they drop can vary. Usually it is radiant life gems, which is just an upgrade from the regular life gem. But the strategy is, as ever, funnel them down that corridor, two-hand your longsword, and poke them down, because you can sometimes hit 2 or 3 of them at a time with a single poke.
You want to try and get them choked in the doorway, as you saw with, doing it here.
Yeah, you can usually take out 2 of them in the doorway without having to back up. Just, of course, make sure you keep an eye on that stamina bar. Don't get to the point where you can't do anything else.
Yeah.
Like, poke them a few times, make sure you've got enough stamina to at least roll once.
Generally at this stage it's poke, poke, roll, and you should be pretty much fine with that. Now, all the items in this area we've
gathered.
We've already gathered in a different video, but you should be able to see them and stuff, so it should be really be an issue. Now, we're coming up towards the
Rune
Sentinels. Now, as ever, we have footage of doing the Rune Sentinels solo and doing the Rune Sentinels and
with the summon that they give you. So this is the one with Pilgrim Belclair.
But it's going into the solo
it's going to
one
switch
first.
back to the solo one, then it's going to go to Pilgrim Belclair.
Yeah, we're doing the solo one first now. It is considerably easier with Pilgrim Belclair.
Yeah, because he just
fucking,
chunks it for days.
Okay, so now we're going to discuss the strategies for doing these guys. Now, as you can see, you're doing a fuck ton worth of damage.
And these guys are weak to lightning and neutral to everything else, and you're still doing so much damage because of that upgraded longsword. It makes the boss trivial. Now, I do seem to remember that you want to keep them up in this platform. That happened. But they do jump back up if you stand near the edge like this. They'll jump back up and they'll swing. So just raise your Drangleic shield, because with a 100% block, they can't do anything other than rip your stamina bar apart.
Now, a strategy for me personally is I like using the one-handed lights, because you can go hit, block in case they follow up with their sort of quicker swingy swoosh attack that you'll see. But you want to make sure that if you can get the jump one-on-one up here is the main thing you want to try and do.
At some point the second one will jump up and join you, and then that's when you want to jump off this platform and use like the much greater amount of space down below. But the guys, they aren't particularly like, it's one sentinel at a time isn't a problem. It's when there's 2 of them. Now, you just seen the little screen shudder there and the little whiff of smoke. That was the cue that the second sentinel has obviously jumped up and it was time to leave. At this point now, what you need to do is work out which one it is that you've been working down, and that's the one you want to focus on.
Yeah.
You want to take them out one at a time, methodically. The one that's taken the most damage is your highest priority.
Yeah, definitely. Now, again, what you want to do is, the Drangleic shield is probably your greatest asset here.
That there can kill you. They tend to do that attack at the same time. So just, like, when that happens, your only option is just keep rolling backwards. You can't block 6 hits in a row from these guys, which is what the 2 of them doing the spin to win at the same time is 6 hits to the face, basically.
So another strategy that you want to do is you want to group them together. If you can get one in a line and then, like, you want to get them so they're all kind of lined up and then get them to come at you. Eventually what will happen is one will attack and the other one will attack and they'll both stop attacking. At that stage, it's your time to run in, hit with the long sword, and then get the fuck out of there. Now, that is this sort of core strategy that you want to try and do.
Now, just a few moments ago, like what you'd have seen there is that one of the sentinels was in that back corner underneath the platform you start on, and I didn't attack. I couldn't see the other one, and it just so happened that as soon as I broke lock and turned around, the other one was in the middle of a spin to win. So obviously going for the attack on that sentinel there would have came out worse for myself. So you don't want to attack unless you're absolutely sure that they cannot hit you. And that sometimes involves keeping them both in screen and waiting for both of their moves to go into a cooldown. As you can see, the other one's out the screen again, so I'm going to keep circling until I can get them both in view. It's always important when you're fighting multiple enemies, such as Watcher and Defender, Ruined Sentinels, Gargoyles, that you try and keep as many of them in view as possible. But there you go, you take them down one at a time. Now, Rice is the one that throws his shield.
No, they can all throw their shield.
They can all throw their shield?
Yeah.
I've only ever had Rice do it.
However, only one of them will ever throw their shields during the match.
Yeah, if one throws their shield, the other 2 will keep their shield on.
At the very least, it is useful because then you can figure out what one you may or may not want to concentrate attacking.
Definitely, like, see if their health bars they haven't got that much of a gap and one of them throws their shield, focus on the one that's shieldless because they can't block anymore.
Yeah.
But the one with the shield can, which means that you've basically wasted hits if they're blocking it.
So remember, you can block all of their attacks, and the reason we like the Fire Longsword so much is because it can attack so quickly, but there's no way you're going to get any more damage from something that attacks that quickly at this point.
There's no way you're going to get any more damage at this point in the game in general, unless you've had not even touched the longsword and went for a +6 greatsword instead.
So here we are with Belclair. Now, although you might be going, well, you're doing less damage, Belclair hits like a fucking truck, as you can see. And not only that, Belclair takes some amount of fucking aggro off you as well.
Yeah, and of course, if you fall down, sometimes Belclair stays up top, and he just basically peppers them from up above with sorcery, which is also very handy to have, like, basically some air support when you're fighting a boss where there's 3 of them. But as you can see, like, a lot of people have trouble with this boss. I remember a reviewer went off his fucking nut with this boss because he seen some guy do it, and the guy just tanked up. And he was just like, well, what's the point in putting this boss in the game if the only way to beat them is to tank up? It's not. It's not. There is no one surefire way to beat every boss in this game. There isn't an only way to beat a boss. There never is.
See, Belclair is taking decent care of the one downstairs while you can focus on the one up here. So as you can see, Belclair really is a useful summon here. Obviously there is some summons that just make things fucking harder, but Belclair definitely makes it easier, so we recommend using them if you can, really.
And of course with these guys, as ever, it's the same as pretty much most bosses in this game. You just keep strafing to their shield side and most of their attacks miss. You can roll through their attacks, no problem. Just be careful if you're like, you want to be right behind them when they do that follow-up. If you're sort of off to the side, it can clip you.
Yeah. And
when it clips you, it does have the tendency to stun, and then you're on the back foot again. But as you can see here, easy done. When you're 1v1 with the Sentinels, they aren't even an issue.
It's and just when you're getting ganked with them.
Belclair's just tanking his way. He's at half health, and we haven't helped him with a Sentinel at all.
Yeah.
And there you go. We had to hit that Sentinel, twice?
Something like
Belclair took care of him. So there you go. There's a lot of walls. There's a lot of invisible walls here.
Yeah.
Action walls, rather. It's pretty much all these ones that is actually brickwork as opposed to just like the plaster. The brickwork ones, 9 times out of 10, these ones are illusionary walls. There's always a slight difference in the wall, except on some very, very, very rare occasions.
Yeah, there's a few where I've no idea how anybody managed to find them. Like,
yeah, like the one that's in the the one that's in the first DLC above Ilana, that bonfire. There is like, I have no idea, because the wall is just all the same all the way across. Like, someone must have been like, I need a bonfire, there has to be one, and just piled all their faith into Dark Souls in the hope that it was true.
Anyway, although there is a lot of invisible walls and things floating around here, it really doesn't matter because the items in the walls aren't particularly great, not gonna lie.
I mean, this one does lead you to Homeward Bones, which are always helpful. Now, I tested this. In the Ruined Sentinel boss fight, you can open these walls, but you cannot go through the doorway. The doorway's fogged off. I tested it because I was under the impression that if I can go through this, I can get back up top. And if I can get back up top, I can separate the Sentinels and even get time to heal. But unfortunately, they're blocked by a fog wall, so you cannot exit the Sentinel room.
Oh, in this room there is this one enemy here, so you want to make sure you kill him before he does anything.
Yeah, but he's not really a problem anyway. You can one-shot these guys for the entire game, and that was Rogue Water. Restores some health, restores some spell uses, so completely fucking useless to us at this point. Now, in here at the end of this corridor, be careful, there is an exploding mummy.
And there is also a soul packet in the actual corridor off to the right there, so that's something we picked up just in case you wonder where the fuck that came from.
And this is the bonfire. This is the bonfire just above the belfry, the gargoyles. So
now we're going to show you, if you just can't do the Ruined Sentinels, here is how you skip the Ruined Sentinels. However, if you do skip the Ruined Sentinels, you cannot go to this bonfire.
Yeah. You can't do the gargoyles, which means you can't get the key to light up the Lost Sinner room.
Yeah.
So if you do skip the Sentinels, just understand that you're going to make the Sinner a little bit harder. Not that the Sinner's difficult anyway.
Yeah.
But you're going to make the Sinner a little bit harder. As well as you'll be under-leveled as well compared to us if you do skip a boss. We're covering pretty much every boss in this game apart from Dark Lurker, because Dark Lurker's covering not an actual
so that'll be in a separate video.
Yes, and of course that does mean we're doing the bosses that you have to do yourself, like the Royal Rat Authority and the Royal Rat, the other one, I can't remember, the Royal Rat King, Vanguard, that one. Those ones, those are the ones that we're doing as well, and surefire, we've got a surefire way to beat pretty much nearly every boss in this game without any relative difficulty.
So hopefully you're still watching at this point. To mention something about Macduff that we never mentioned the last time. If you spend 14,000 souls with Macduff, he will give you a Titanite slab if you talk to him, and if you kill him, he will drop a Titanite slab. It's not particularly relevant right now because we can't actually interact with him, but just to mention it in this video, we want to mention it every time the NPC comes up. We just want to go over it again.
And just another thing that we missed out there just earlier on in the video, the Ruined Sentinel Soul. You trade that with Strayed, who we'll run into later on this video. We'll show you who Strayed is.
We don't actually interact with
Yeah,
Straight in this
you
video.
can't get him at this
That's
point.
in a later video.
That's
We will talk
far
to him,
later.
come back to him, but he is the person that you trade boss souls with.
Yeah, and what they give you the heavy homing soul arrow, I think it was.
Yeah.
They give you, that's what you get from the Rune Sentinel souls. So it's just so you're aware for later on when you actually have access to Strayed.
That's what you get.
That's what you do get, but you need one of those fucking fragrant branches of yore.
So now again we're off to
skip
the Rune
Sentinels. I'm going to
Sentinels.
show you the route to skip. Now you need to do the first part of the Bastille because you need to get the antiquated key.
Yeah.
So go back to the Cardinal Tower, not Cardinal Tower, the Forest of the Fallen Giants video, and make sure you grab everything that we grabbed for the start of the Bastille. That's like, it's tacked right on at the end of it. It's like an extra 10-15 minutes at the end, even at that.
However, regardless, we actually recommend that you do the Rune Sentinels, and we also recommend that you do this area of the level as well, because there's a lot of great items here. So
Yeah, you get the Wanderer set from here.
Yeah.
Which is really fucking good. It's been good in both Souls games. So you can't really complain. Now there's two sandbaggers in here. Go for the one on the right because he stands up the quickest, and the one on the left, but you can one-shot them, so it's not a problem. And flame butterflies,
which are actually relatively useful in some.
They can be. Like, if you don't want to risk respawn in an area, then you can flame butterfly, which is really good. So that's what you need the antiquated key for. Now that is a door that you cannot break down, so you do need the antiquated key.
Yeah.
Of course, it's just the dogs, so same strategy as before. Back up, let them lunge, and then hit them. There are a few dogs out here, and this is just to show you that you can't actually break the door, as you see me deflect from it there. And once the door's open, you can't close it either, so make sure you're ready for the dog ambush. Now this is going to be a bit of a problem for some of you guys, because this wrecked me in my first playthrough. This looks like it might give you an item, but instead it brings up a chest with all these sandbaggers, so you just want to try and wail to your heart's content, because once you kill all of them, the Wanderer set will drop.
Yeah.
And that is of course the set that the Swordsman class starts off with in the beginning, the one with the short sword and the scimitar. That's what it starts off with. So it's a reasonably good light armour set. Upgrades via normal Titanite as well, so it's relatively easy to.
So you want to come over here first before you progress, because there's this guy here which fires a crossbow when you're in that room, and that's a pain in the arse. So you want to get rid of him quickly, before you go on kill this guy as well.
And you want to be careful here as well, because you want to do that, but less reckless. You want to make sure you blow up those barrels, because it leads you into the cleric set.
Yeah.
The Archdrake robe, which is the armor that the starting class cleric starts with.
So you want to obviously blow that up using a firebomb or something. You don't really want to use the fire sword, but whatever. We didn't die, so no harm, no foul.
Yeah, like, you're pretty much guaranteed not to die if you've got full health. With the Drangleic set, you're guaranteed not to die from that. But that's the Archdrake robe. It's quite a heavy set of armor, really, for its defenses.
Yeah, especially the way it looks as well.
And it looks like you're wearing a duvet, so it's not exactly fashion souls. You know what I mean?
Looks comfy though.
It does look comfy. It's like a giant snuggly.
Snuggy.
But yeah, this is what you need the Pharos stone for.
Yeah.
Put it in here, and this allows you to skip the Rune Sentinels.
Not only that, it does give you access to an incredibly important item.
Yeah, which is, if I'm not mistaken, an all-soul vessel.
Yep. So
which is what you need, actually, if you want to follow this guide to the letter, then you'll want the extra soul vessel.
Yeah.
Because we finish with one soul vessel to spare from the vanilla game. So you do want this, so that means that you can switch the build back to what you want. Now, right there, we picked up the Twin Blade, which is an okay weapon. Its biggest strength really is status effects, because of how often it hits, so like poison or bleed. And of course the parrying dagger, and the bone staff as well, which is alright.
Yeah, I mean, there's always builds where they're useful. So there's a soul vessel. Again, if you want to use the soul vessel, you take it to Strown and Things Betwixt, and she will let you change your levels.
Now that ladder there, I'm not sure if we do show you, but that ladder there leads you back up top, back to near enough. Oh yeah, we do show you. It leads you back to near enough Macduff's bonfire room.
Yeah.
Like you go up these stairs a little bit, and it drops you down behind a couple of the jailers, and you just basically continue on from there. So it is actually. This is the way to go. Yeah, this is the way to go if you want to go back to the bonfire for whatever reason. Like, oh, I've just got the Twin Blade, now I'm going to upgrade it. But yeah, there's the jailer, there's the bonfire down there. And if you look closely, you can see the ocean through the bonfire walls. Even though there isn't any water on that side, there is water on that side, but there should be a bonfire there instead.
Well, I mean, there should be a wall blocking off the ocean.
Yeah, there should be a wall blocking.
It's just a bit of a glitch. I'm sure that some people might have actually seen that as they're walking down sometimes.
Yeah.
So anyway, right, this is the lift that takes you up to, essentially, like, this is where...
Takes you up to the centre.
Basically, we'll show you. So this takes you up to where, if you went from the bonfire, like after the Rune Sentinels, this takes you up to the area that that takes you to.
We're gonna be going back round that way anyway, just to show you, because there are items around there that we need to grab. Now this we want to roll off, grab the bonfire aesthetic, and then there is the little like sort of there's a sort of platform between the two Iron Maidens. Aim for that, and then you can just Estus and safely roll towards the chest, or walk off, I suppose, and take the other Iron Maiden back up top.
Yeah.
And that takes you up to the basically to the little lever that you pull to skip straight onto the center.
Yeah. So continuing on, and open this door, that takes you into the next room, obviously, because the door. Just try to fill it out a little bit, but yeah. So here's more sandbags. You want to take them now. In this gate here, if you go through there, that takes you to the Lost Sinners area.
Sinner's Rise.
And this area here is where Strayed is. Now we're not going to go up there now. That's for a later video. We can't even access Strayed. There's also a gate there that opens with the Bastille key,
which you need to beat the gargoyles for.
Yeah, so you beat the gargoyles, you get the Bastille key, and that opens up the bonfire, and no, it doesn't open the bonfire, but it does open up an item. Now what we're going to do is, because we don't have access to that bonfire, we're going to just run over quickly to Sinner's Rise, because there's the bonfire right at the beginning of it.
And the enemies before the Sinner, well, the enemies you're going to encounter are just Royal Swordsmen again. So you've already handled plenty of them throughout the Lost Bastille. You can handle 3 more.
So this is a good alternative.
Just stand here, they'll drop right in front of you. It's really that simple. There are 3 of them. Yep, there you go. But there's 3 up top. They all use the crossbows to shoot you as you're going at them. Now, light this, but don't rest at it right away. If you rest at it, I just want to make you aware that upon resting at this bonfire, all 3 of the guys with the crossbows will spawn. And of course, because we're not beating the gargoyles yet, you get to see this cool cutscene to tell you missed something.
Yeah.
And of course, the gargoyle flying back into the Bastille is also a good hint. Now, there are items here that we're not going to touch.
Yeah,
because we want to leave this for Sinner's Rise.
Yeah. Now, we actually recommend that if lightning spears were still a thing, then to do the gargoyles in Sinner's Rise to the now, but they're not a thing anymore. As we mentioned, they've been nerfed, so
we're going to come back, don't worry.
Yeah, we recommend doing this at a later time when we've leveled up a bit more, and we're going to use a class which will decimate the gargoyles, because the gargoyles are, in our opinion, one of the hardest bosses in the entire game.
They can be, if you don't have any good, strong, damaging range, the gargoyles can be the biggest bane of your existence.
So this is how if you skip the Rune Sentinels, you can't get through this gate or back from this gate. There's a switch over there on the other side that you can only get to from the Rune Sentinel side, which is why you cut out that entire part. Now, you need to go that way to get to the gargoyles, but if you don't do the Rune Sentinels, you can't get to the gargoyles, because you can't go through that way. So
now, there's 2 invisible walls here, 2 action walls here rather. They do lead to actually important items. These are items that we will use later on in the game, definitely. I believe one of them is the Golden Wing Shield, which we end up relying on for a mana. Yeah. Because it has really good magic defense, and that's the Bracing Knuckle Ring. But yeah, look, this is just to show you we're back in at the gate.
Yeah.
The gate, although the gate popped in because there's another fucking graphical glitch, because B Team are amazing. But yeah, it's just to show you that even if you go around that way, you still can't skip the gate.
So do the tricky jump over here and get the flame butterfly and the torch.
3 torches, so that's like an hour worth of torch. Like
not that you need torches. I think every torch is like 5 minutes.
Is it 5? I thought it was 20. I can't remember. Regardless, but this is something that a lot of people miss out, because it doesn't look like you should be able to do this, but you can. Yeah. And this leads you to the Golden Wing Shield. Very high magic block. It's a spell parry shield as well. They've updated the graphics, like the effect of the spell parry shield too. So what that actually does now is that, see, when you parry, it releases like a little tiny force bubble, but it's just a particle effect, nothing more, and it shows you like when you want to parry, which is quite good.
So you want to jump on that. If you jump off anywhere else, you're gonna die, and there's no other way of getting back up. So yeah, you want to do that, and
try and plunge and attack the dog on the way down, just because one less enemy is a lot easier to deal with, and that's us back at Macduff's.
So what we should be doing right now is travelling back to the Servants' Quarters bonfire.
Yeah, just to wrap up the last of the stuff that's here, as well as show you all the items you would miss from skipping Sentinels.
Yeah,
like the
as well
club.
as showing you, if you weren't to skip Sentinels, where you would go to get back to go to Sinner's Rise, just from that place that we were at.
And of course, you do want to do the Sentinels. 1, you want the souls from it, so you can be at run about the same level we are.
Yep.
And 2, one of the weapons that you get behind the Sentinels is the large club, which we'll pick up in just a moment.
Which is
our
useful.
lizard killer.
Yeah.
That is like, it's unreal. Their 2-handed running attack is just a slam straight on the floor, which means even if the lizard tries to run, as long as you aim it right, you're going to one-shot the lizard most of the time.
Yeah. So it is useful to get. It's kind of like it's one of the few weapons that we actually use, but we recommend getting it. Now
it's a utility weapon for us. We don't use it as a main weapon. We use it just for lizards. But the priest's chime, now that would be an absolute beautiful item if lightning spears were still decent.
Yeah.
Because that is the best chime that you can get, bar the dragon chime, for lightning-based miracles. If you
at least for the particular level that we went to.
Yeah.
Obviously, you need to go to much higher levels to get more out of the other. So remember, if you open the door, you can't actually see that item there, so remember to pick up that soul packet.
Yeah, I mean, you can open the door and then close it again. You can do that and it doesn't, like, alert this jailer, but I mean, they're not a problem. Two-hand poke, dead.
Oh, just to make a point, those sandbagger enemies drop alluring skulls. That is not a useful item whatsoever, really.
I know one use for it.
Oh, come on.
Shaded woods. When you, where Rosabeth is, when you pull the lever and all the guys come out, you can throw the alluring skull to the other door, and they'll all group on it, and you can spin to win them with a halberd and kill the full group in one go.
Oh, cool.
That is one use for the alluring skull that I've found. That is the only use for the alluring skull.
And here we are back at those gates that we talked about.
You should be able to recognise it. The gate on the two gates, basically. This you'll see it when we walk around that all the sandbaggers are here as well. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So that's just to show you basically that this is. Oh,
there you go. Alluring skull.
Yeah. So that's just to show you that upon skipping the sentinels, you can access the belfry, which is for the gargoyles, which is where we grabbed the club actually. Now, even at this point in the game, you wouldn't be able to do the gargoyles if you skipped. Like we wouldn't be able to do the gargoyles right now because we used that Pharos stone on showing you the shortcut.
Yeah.
Well, I say shortcut, showing you the alternate route to the center. But if you did do the the sentinels, then you can use that Pharos stone instead to unlock the belfry.
Not only that, if you need a Pharos stone, there is other ways of getting Pharos stones. For instance, you can jump down the pit in Majula on the like the branches, like the boards,
the
and then you can get a Pharos stone that way. However, obviously we don't need it and we're not doing it at that point, hence why we've not showed you at that point. But you can get a Pharos stone that way if you so want to do the gargoyles at that point.
If you want to put yourself through nothing but pain, then yeah, you can do that.
And you can also bonfire Aesthetic Majula and then go and get the Pharos stone in the book room again.
But of course, Bonfire Aesthetic Majula makes Lycia more powerful for later on in the game, which means she's even more of a pain in the arse.
Yeah, so if you don't plan on ever doing Lycia's quest, then fucking Bonfire Aesthetic Majula to get as many large shards and fucking shit that you want from it. But
yeah.
We don't want to do that because we're doing Lycia's quest.
Yeah.
And that's why we've not Bonfire Aesthetic Majula, because it just is a gigantic pain in the arse later on.
So of course, at this point, it is just wrapping up like any remaining items and going back to the. I don't know why we're going back to the center bonfire. I think it's just to show like this is the route you would take if you did do the sentinels. But I mean, it's fairly obvious which way you'd want to go. But once again, these guys just stand below them. They're not difficult in any way. After this, we're going to go back to Majula anyway, because we've got 15,000 souls on us, and we've probably got a few definitely got a soul of a brave warrior that we picked up from the golden wing shield anyway. Yeah. So I mean, that's like an extra 1,000 souls, 2,000 souls,
something like that.
So I mean, that's something we're going to want to spend. Now I'm waiting for this third guy to drop down. He doesn't seem to be doing it, so I'm just going to go. Fuck it, let's go.
So as you can see, there's a lot of stuff in the Lost Bastille, and it is quite a complicated area in terms of...
Yeah, it's maze-like.
Yeah, obviously we really like that. I personally think this is a really well-designed area. However, you know, there's a lot to it, and you know, we want to really force home the fact that if you skip the sentinels, then you know you can't do certain things, and if you do the sentinels, then it means doing other things is easier. So you know. Yeah,
but that's us pretty much for this video. Really, it's back to Majula. More points in stamina and health, basically.
I mean, it's literally that until that.
At this point, yeah, it's just that until the iron keep. So I mean, that's going to be our entire build basis. Is going to be Vit and stamina dump through Huntsman's Copse, through Ethan, Harvest Valley. It's going to be like that for the next 4 areas, which is quite handy.
Yeah. So there we go. We've got
loads of soul packets.
A few soul packets to pop, which is.
We're going to go from 15,000 to probably near enough 20,000 souls at this point, which really is quite good, all things considered. Oh, we're going to go to 23,000 souls actually.
Oh.
So yeah, can't complain about them numbers. Them digits.
So that should be every single item in Lost Bastille. If we missed anything, remember to tell us. But I think we've pretty much covered everything.
I am very confident.
I cannot think of anything we missed.
No. So I mean, it is just more health, more stamina, and that is the way the build's going to go for the foreseeable future until Iron Keep.
Yeah. And there is the final build stats for this part, and we will see you in Huntsman's Copse. So obviously that's it for the video. If you want to support the channel, then there's the link down below. But again, you don't need to do that. A like, comment, subscribe is
even Even a view is plenty, yeah. But of course, if you want to watch the No Man's Wharf episode, click the last episode link that's on screen, and the Huntsman's Copse episode that you see right now, you'll be able to click that once that one has been uploaded, and you'll be able to carry through then. Now, of course, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch links, all on screen. It's the best way to keep up with us is like Facebook and Twitter. We update them all the time. Like, every day we do something on Facebook, and every few days there's something on Twitter. There's always something for us to say to you guys. And of course the Twitch streams, if you really do want to interact with us, we stream on Twitch maybe 1 or 2 times a week. And now we've not got a set schedule, it is a little bit sort of hit and miss, but we do give you guys warning on YouTube, and of course it is the best way to interact with us because you can interact with us in real time as opposed to waiting for us to get back to you in a comment on YouTube, which can take sometimes up to a day.
Yeah.
Because we do try to interact with you guys as much as we possibly can. But yeah, definitely all the links on screen, follow through with them and you'll be able to see just how interactive we can be and how much more we can help you guys on an individual basis as well as on an overall basis.
Yeah. So we hope you enjoyed that episode, hope it was informative, and we'll see you in the next episode, guys.
See you guys later.
Bye.